Everything opens and closes. The heart beats, the lungs expand, the cerebrospinal fluid does that. The tides come in, the phases of the moon, the menstrual cycles, the stock market. The whole universe is breathing. We're part of that breathing. And we get the idea that there's some spiritual state that if we get it, and especially when we do get it, that the goal is to stay there.
So you came back from Asia as a young man after having these deep initiatory experiences. What was it like, Jack, integrating those experiences returning to the US?
So it was both wonderful and difficult. All the things that I'd sorted out in myself, or forgiveness, working with the difficulty of my father, how to have a, relationship to my own fear and anger and become more trusting and fearless. As soon as I got into an intimate relationship, all the other stuff came up because you don't get to practice that in the monastery.
Right.
And my clinging and my self-judgment and my fear and judgment, all that. And I thought, oh my God, I can't say that it didn't work, but it was like I'd only done part of the curriculum. And I actually needed to do that. Meanwhile, I thought, well, what should I do with this? I think I'll get a degree in psychology because I want to figure out what happened to me. So my whole life opened from that. What I learned in the monastery or what I learned in Haight-Ashbury, now there are people who are actually learning to research and do this and bring it into the culture. And so I made a whole series of friendships in a web that then extended from Stan Groff to Joseph Campbell and Gregory Bateson and people that I taught with at Esalen. And I found myself, and all the people from David McClellan, from Ram Dass, embedded somehow in a community of seekers, if you will, or people who'd been in India or other places. And I felt like, I've found a tribe that I belong to.
Now, I want to ask you even more about this integration journey. And here you get a degree in clinical psychology. And I think a lot of people who have deep mystical experiences and then recognize how, just to say it in plain English, effed up they feel in different parts of their life,
Yes.
Can't seem to bring it together. And I want to ask you about this, Jack, because of all the people who have looked really deeply at this, you're one of the people who I think can really help people who are in that experience. Like, I don't get it. I don't get how I can feel so peaceful, so free, so open, and so effed up at the same time. Mm-hmm. Help me understand that.
One of the things that we really need to learn, and it has a kind of tenderness of compassion about it, is that everything opens and closes. The heart beats, the lungs expand, the cerebrospinal fluid does that. The tides come in, the phases of the moon, the menstrual cycles, the stock market. The whole universe is breathing. We're part of that breathing. And we get the idea that there's some spiritual state that if we get it, and especially when we do get it, that the goal is to stay there. And that's like having this vast open breath and saying, okay, I'm going to stay here. That's not how it works. Life has joy and sorrow, praise and blame, gain and loss. It has connection in which you love it when it comes, and then you have to learn to love it when it goes. And so a big part of that integration was understanding our common humanity, and that spiritual life isn't to have some amazing experience and stay there, because it doesn't work that way. It's to have that perspective, to know it deeply, so there comes a freedom and ability to love, and to realize that we're all just human at the same time. That to somehow remember our Buddha nature and, our zip code and what we have to deal with in our life. So I needed to learn that lesson, and people do. That was one of the things that helped. The next thing that helped was therapy. It's very hard to do on your own. There's a reason that there's Sangha and community and satsang, and when two or more gathered in his name and minyan, you can't even see yourself very clearly much of the time. And yes, you need community, but more than that, we need each other to help each other. So when I first started training in psychology and teaching Buddhist teachings, a lot of people looked down at me. That's fine, okay. He's mixing up the holy dharma, sit in meditation, everything will be fine. Or I've had a kensho, I had a satori, I had this great experience. Why would I do therapy? Well, talk to your wife, talk to your husband. That's why you would do it. Now I could give you the name of the therapists of most of the lamas and swamis and mamas in my industry, especially the Western ones, because they all realize, there's this part of the inner work is necessary. And we need somebody, as the best of therapy is that mirror where somebody looks at you first with the eyes of love, just to see your humanity, and then reflects back. It's a paired mindfulness, paired compassion. Says, oh yeah, all this happened, you get caught there. They know that's not who you are, and they help you to discover that. So I'm an all of the above kind of person. It's psychedelics and therapy, and I continue to do retreats and learn from other kinds of teachers. Part of it was the inner journey, but a lot of it also was trial and error. I would be in a marriage with a young baby and be exhausted, as all new parents, or many new parents, and that would put me a little at my edge. All right, how do I practice with this? Soften, relax, let go of all the things that I think the way it's supposed to be and the things that I think that are important to do. What's important is to hold this baby. What's important is to be here for my wife. So it was just like the monastery. I had to do the hard things like we do and learn how to tend them with love.
Discover on-demand videos and docuseries, explore a full schedule of daily life classes, and become part of an incredible community. At Sounds True One, we invite you inward to find your way your way.